So today we've got a Maxcom 7E. This has been kindly sent in by a viewer and it was appreciated. So thank you to that viewer. So it's come with a rubber duck and power lead, some banana plugs on. It's not come with the complete kit, just this radio, but it does have the case which has got the battery pack when you want to use it as a walkie-talkie. It's exactly the same chassis as... so the battery pack's missing on this one, so fair dues. But there's a battery pack normally and you can put double A's in, but it's still a protective case. There were two batches of these. One was 87 and one was 81. This is 82, so it's the first batch. The later one will say SW for Shaman's Wholesale. So that's the identity thing. Was this done for Plustronics? No, it wasn't. No, they were doing Midland, weren't they? Anyway, it's the same chassis as the Midland 77-810, which we did the other day, but there is a difference which makes this better, and it's the fact it's got high-low power. I just find that such a useful feature. And on a radio like this, you may want low power. Not sure why it's got a hole drilled in it, but there we go. So you don't often see the rubber ducks. Were they even included in all the kits? It's the right one for it, but I seem to think that some of the kits just came with the telescopic. So, of course, we don't know what it's going to do, but I do like these, and I hope you do like emergency sets, because the next video is a Cybernet ZX1 before we got our teeth into a Midland base station. I think it's about the 22nd today. That'll do nicely. Right, I don't have much time, but we can make a start. These don't have a LED display, so they can be a little awkward to use in the field, so to speak. So I've hopefully got it on channel 20. So you have to take the knobs off to open it up. So these were basically $79.99, whereas the Midland one was $59.99, and you got all these extra accessories with this, plus the low power feature. So you get a bigger speaker in this, and you're getting a lot of mobile sets today. That's something that happens with these. This switch disappears off to one side. Oh my goodness, that is so tight. Oh, I can't even shift it back now. I've moved it to low power. Oh, and then the board snaps, doesn't it? That's another thing. And that's exactly what's happened. It's come unglued. Oh dear. I'll have to get Mr. Chippy to dismantle that, I think. Right, we need... that goes through the aerial coil there, which means you've got to use the provided accessories, because otherwise you're going to present a bad SWR. What else do we need to say? Why isn't the audio device bolted to the chassis? Or doesn't it have to be? I'll have to look in another one for that answer. Luckily we've got some bits and pieces. Right, I need the aerial adapter. The aerial adapter that isn't here. Right, I'll get it plugged into the power supply. Next question is how many volts are these? I've got one or two things to check. Yes, I think we'll come back with a few answers. Right, I've spent some time on this, taking it out of its case. That'll have to be glued. Got the adapter on there, and what I've discovered when I looked at another one is that there should be a piece of heatsink there which clamps it to the main heatsink, and that was missing, so I pinched that off a scrap chassis. Otherwise we'd have an overheating audio chip and then no audio chip. Right, so it's making the right kind of noises. So let's see whether we've got any transmitter. Switch picture in picture on. And we have got transmit, and it's doing 2.6 watts. And I still need to find out whether you can put 13.8 up these. Because it might not be the truth. Right, deviation, quick test on this test set, and we'll move to the other one for a more calibrated look. Wow, it looks like 1.8. Transmit current 713 milliamps. Low power. Milliwatts. And we've had the test gear on for about 5 hours, so let's put the frequency counter up. 27,79085. So I'll deal with that immediately. Immediately, if I can remember where the trimmer is, it's there. $27,79125. Right, I'll set the frequency, the signal generator. Sounds alright to me. And if we can actually see that for the plastic. Oh yeah, we've got to connect that, haven't we, with a crocodile clip, because it doesn't have an extension speaker socket. That one there. See, I threatened to hold it on. Should be able to pick up the earth through the test equipment. There we go. One microvolt. Naught 0.95 microvolt. One 1.95 microvolts. And 2.3 millivolts, that's too tight. Threshold. .1 microvolt. Doesn't have one of those, doesn't have one of those, doesn't have one of those. Yes, but high, low, broken. I'm just going to have a look at the instruction book and see what it says about 13.8 volts just before we go. I'll tell you what, we'll do receive first. Otherwise I'm getting up and down like a yo-yo. We'll start with the detector. We'll put the oscilloscope on and show you that. And with enough volume for it to be a meaningful trace. Oh, which one is it? Is it that one? I don't think so. It's that one. I think that was okay as it was. Right, let's see whether we can get a better. Sounds a bit awful, like the IF's out. Well, that's helped the sensitivity. Just to back the attenuator off. Wow, that was miles out. Back the attenuator off. Do them both again. And we'll just put a bit more signal on and do this IF one. Back the signal generator off. Recheck that. Yeah, well screwed around with this. I'll just check this once again. Detector. Yeah, that's right. Let's have a look at the sensitivity now. So the 12 dB. We're now 0.65. We'd expect it to be just slightly under 1, so that's excellent now. 0.63 for 20 dB. Well, it's 1.25. So let's do the squelch to full and find the preset for the squelch. There's only 2 presets, and it's bound to be the... I'm about to turn the wrong one. I've not seen one of these for 2 weeks, you know. Can't expect me to remember. Yes, we do have manuals. So we've got preset there. And we've got 1 there, so that'll be deviation, this will be squelch. That's 100 microvolts. Let's look at it at the sensitive end. Now 0.68. I'll check deviation with the test set behind me, and then we just need to bother with the transmitter when I've looked at what voltage the thing works on. These are quite difficult to do this with because I've got to pick the whole unit up and move slightly. Wallow. 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 Let's try again. Wallow. Seems to be struggling with the power connector. Wallow. It says it's 2 on this one. It's probably lying today. So it was 2 kilohertz. It's now 2.2 average with a 2.5 peak. Right, I'll go and find some instructions. Right, it's 13.2 volts. So, I mean, that's quite going to be okay for 13.8. But we'll run it at 13.2 as it says. So I've had the glue gun on that, and hopefully that'll... It's a very, very weak 1/8 of an inch of printed circuit. Oh, I'll be able to spend the rest of the day getting the glue blobs off. Whoever's repaired that before used super glue. I've never got on with super glue, it doesn't work for me. Right, so we'll just finish the transmitter off and Bob's your uncle. Right, we're on the right meter, So basically it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 to do. So we'll bring the clipboard back, see what it's doing on transmit now that it's on 13.2 volts. Of course I've got it on low power, haven't I, just when I don't want to move that switch. So it's 2.9 watts. So we'll change that to 2.9. I'm not going to. It's so difficult to change channel. We're not going to do the 1 and 40, but I will when it's back together as a test. And unless it's wildly out, I won't be revisiting that. These Wonder plugs don't fit right. These are old-fashioned ones from a bygone era. What I'll just do is we'll just open it up. These are back to the valve radio days. Okay. Why doesn't that fit in? It's already at the correct place. Slight peak there, we're about at 3 watts. Again, slight peak there, 3 watts. I'll just change scales now because we're going to go beyond. I've got to move those wires. Three 3.5. .6. Backtrack that one. 3.6. So low power is now 180 milliwatts. And we've got 3.6 there. Let's just have a look what the current consumption is. It's 788 milliamps. Of course, I've got glue gun gunk, haven't I, gone down the hole there. Just turn the power off. Get that one in first. Yeah, so you know, when we've gone through this with the receive, the biggie was the receiver, absolutely miles out. It wasn't so much the detector that the IF was out, so it would have sounded a bit a Dalek, and it would have been at 1 microvolts. It would have been starting to be on the deaf side. And if you're using this as a walkie-talkie or an emergency set with a not brilliant aerial, you don't really want to be having things that are dodgy on top of things that are dodgy. So hopefully we can get that. Back there. Power back on. And we'll just check the transmit on the other channels. Channel 1. Exactly 4 watts. Channel 40, which is 3.8. It's possible that the set's cooled down. Yeah, it's actually 3.9. Good, we're there. Now that's not as tight as would be ideal. We actually do a power lead for these to an open end usually. That's tightened it up. We do those on eBay. Right, we'll take the test gear off, put the aerial on, and see whether there's any music players and swearers on the burners at Nottingham. Well, no, Roger. Well, not Roger. It's about 6 o'clock, so they're probably having tea with their mummies. Right, well, that said a whole lot of nothing, but that's usually the case here in the middle of nowhere, which is why I live in the middle of nowhere. So we sorted it out. We had to use a scrap set to sort out that heatsink issue. I've actually changed the switch to the one from the scrap set, and it seemed a sensible thing to do because the other one was a bit tight. Mr. Chippy could probably have taken that apart. It means unsoldering it and taking it apart, so there we go. Luckily we had a scrap chassis, which was also given to us from a viewer, so that's nice. So thank you for sending this in. Person knows who they are, and we're doing on the end test. very shortly with it. Thanks for watching Maxcom 7E from 1982.